All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 92 of the Yellow Card Podcast, presented to you by the one and only network out of Boston, Massachusetts. That's right, Couch Guy Sports Network. Check out couchguysports.com. Check out all the content on there: hockey, basketball, baseball, soccer, fantasy football, whatever you're looking for in terms of sports, we have it for you. Again, check out couchguysports.com. Huge shout out to our sponsors, Shocked Energy and Exogun, bringing out episode 92 once again. Truly appreciate their sponsorship. Make sure you check out their products and use their discount codes, as you might have heard them before already. Shocked Energy, CGSN, as in Couch Guy Sports Network, and Exogun, CGS10 or Couch Guy 10, whatever you want to use. Episode 92, rolling in. Premier League, already week one, already right behind us. It was on episode 91. You got to hear our predictions. You got to hear our takes as to what we were expecting on week one. If you expected us to nail it correctly and spot on for week one, you are highly delusional, and you should probably go check into a psychiatrist or a psych ward, because if there's anybody that got week one correct and predicted, not even Nostradamus could do that. So good luck to whoever tried doing that. But we got a lot to talk about. Got a lot of disappointment, a lot of shocking surprisings, and dominance is back on in the Premier League, baby. Dominance is back on. So why don't we kick it right away? Let's go real quick on some of the surprising scores that we saw on week one. Start off with first and foremost, Manchester City beating West Ham. Erling Haaland, dream debut, man. What you think of that, Jones?
Oh, I'm getting introduced on the podcast tonight? Okay, good to know.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, as always, the voice that you hear all the time, and the man, I should give him a lot more credit than this. I'm just in a sour mood today. Manchester United's absolutely ruined my weekend, while Liverpool had, actually, I think we're both in a sour mood because we expected better out of Liverpool. But hey, it's week one. The teams are still gelling all together after all those signings and all that stuff, so we get it. But huge shout out to Chris Jones, the man behind all of the Yellow Card Podcast content on TikTok. If you are not following our TikTok, make sure that you do. Yellow Card Pod is our TikTok handle. Make sure that you're following us. We're bringing a lot of content this year, a lot. And if you're not following us, or you're falling behind at the wheel, good luck catching up to that, boss, because it's already left the station and there's no stopping from there. Jonesy, week one, man, we both went 5-5, which honestly, kind of a round of applause to the two of us, because this could have gone a lot worse with how week one went. And I think we can both agree to that. So just a quick kudos to the two of us. Jones, you also look a lot relaxed, man. Damn, look at you. Somebody who's a Liverpool fan, and they tied up to a team that's just coming up from another league. You look very relaxed, man. Tell us a little about you this weekend, because you were in a strange land, my friend. Talk to us.
Yeah, vacation really pays off. So, listen, I've enjoyed my week at sea on the cruise ship, and being back.
Cheers to that, brother. Cheers to that, because quite frankly, I have not stopped drinking this weekend after that Manchester United loss. Oh, did I say that they lost? Oh, I'm sorry. It's just so new in my vocabulary these days. I don't even hear myself saying the word lost.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a rough weekend for you and myself. Looking forward, moving forward. I mean,
a rough weekend is when you just turned 21 and you got drunk for the first time legally. What happened this weekend, it's even worse than freaking rough. I don't even know how to describe that for Manchester United.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, for you guys, listen, there's a lot of things that need to be answered for you. We'll get into that in a little bit for sure, but
I almost sound as pessimistic as Al, the host from Legends Lingo. If you haven't checked out that podcast, make sure that you do. Legends Lingo, all the Boston sports content that you need to know, make sure you check out Legends Lingo. Al's very pessimistic, so if you haven't heard that host, I recommend that you do, and that's how you know that I'm very pessimistic today.
Yeah, so I mean, let's just dive into a quick recap from this past week. We had Arsenal winning 2-0 at Crystal Palace, which was a big one. I personally thought that was going to be a draw. Palace didn't lose to them last year. Arsenal didn't beat them last year. Palace was 1-0 against them, so it's a good little thing for me. It looked that way, but
it was really cool to see the once in a lifetime midfield partnership that Patrick Vieira and Andy Petito Pettit, however you want to say his last name. Just seeing them on the sideline, just talking real quick, reminiscing. It was real cool, man. That Arsenal midfield, that was one to freaking fear when Wenger had those two partner up, man. Whew.
And then we moved in the Saturday slate. We had Fulham and Liverpool to a 2-2 draw. Listen, if Liverpool came out the first half, not how do I put this? If Liverpool came out and they were just the slightest bit on their game, they would have ran away with this early on. If they came out with the energy that they had in the second half and the first, Liverpool would have won 4-1 easily.
Yeah.
Fulham just came out. They surprised me, I think. I think they're going to be a lot better than people were giving them credit for at the beginning of the year. But we'll have to wait and see how the cards play out. We had Bournemouth beating Aston Villa 2-0, which is another surprising. I think Bournemouth's a legitimate team too. I think they have the potential. They could potentially stay up now.
Man, but that took me by surprise.
It's 1 week. We can't overthink it. But we'll digress. Leeds beat Wolves 2-1. Newcastle beat Nottingham Forest 2-0.
Which, by the way, real quick, oftentimes, I'm sorry to cut you off, Jones. Oftentimes, you hear about Jones and I predicting the same exact scoreboard for games. This is one that we nailed right down to it. So, again, just a quick props to us real quick there. Go ahead, Jones.
So we had Newcastle beat Nottingham Forest 2-0. Tottenham with probably the best performance of the weekend. You and I would talk about this off air. Tottenham with the 4-1 victory over Southampton. Chelsea squeezing by Everton 1-0. We had Leicester and Brentford in a 2-2 draw. Obviously, Brighton beating Manchester United at Old Trafford 2-1. And Manchester City beating West Ham 2-0 at West Ham, thanks to 2 goals by their new striker, Erling Haaland. Now, it's been a great start for Erling Haaland, but does he keep the pace, or is it going to fall off a little bit, you think, coming into this next week? I mean, don't get me wrong, they're playing Bournemouth this week, so we'll have to wait and see. But I don't know. For me, I think the winners, if you look at the winners from this week, I think you got to give Bournemouth credit for winning.
Yes.
At home
100%.
against Aston Villa. I think you have to give Fulham credit for playing at that high level against Liverpool. Mitrovic, 100%. I said at the beginning when we were doing our preview show, he's going to need to get you 14, 15 goals this year. He already has 2. I think another winner for me would be Arsenal. I think Arsenal starting off the season, their preseason, they were undefeated. They came out and showed why they won all those games. And there's rumors that they could still be making moves. They're not done, but they look very, very good right now. And if they can keep up this pace and the way that they played against Crystal Palace, I don't see how they don't finish in the top 4.
Yeah. I mean, when you go back and ask about Manchester City beating West Ham, I mean, the statistics itself just reads the game altogether. West Ham did not show up at all, and I'm surprised that they only lost 2-0. That could have ended a lot worse. That could have ended 5-0, 7-0 for all we know. Kevin De Bruyne had a performance of his own, as always. Jack Grealish looked decent. Phil Foden actually looked a lot better than what he was last year. When you have a combination of 3 youngsters going up against a defense in which the age gap is insane, and when you look at the average age there is about 27 years old versus a bunch of 23-year-olds, I mean, the stamina itself all catches up all together. Erling Haaland is extremely physical, so when you put Kurt Zuma or Cresswell against him, he's got to continue to plow right through him. And statistically wise, I mean, shots on target, Manchester United had those 2 shots on target that they converted into goals, while West Ham only had 1. Shots overall, 14-6. Possession, 76-24%. Manchester City was making a lot more passes than West Ham even had the ball. Pass accuracy, I give a little bit of credit here to West Ham, even though they only had 263 passes, they conducted 78%, which would be relatively almost the same if this game was more of a 50-50 possession. But this was a one-sided game altogether. So Manchester City should have won that game. They had every opportunity to do so, and they did. I think you give them credit for the victory, but I don't think I am convinced in that front three just yet. If you look at the opportunities, how they were created, they really came in from Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne. If those two were not in the game, I'm not sure that Manchester City would have walked away with a win here. Could have been actually a tie altogether, especially towards the very tail end of that last half. The last 15 minutes, West Ham really woke up and showed up, and they almost had an opportunity there to make it happen. West Ham also didn't play their newest signing, Scamacca. They didn't play him until Antonio came out. If they had put in Antonio and Scamacca all together, I think this would have been a different game. When you have people like Benrahma on the bench, Coventry on the bench, Downs on the bench, you kind of wonder where the tactics are going here. I think David Moyes altogether took this opportunity to investigate how much potential his team really has until he finally, has a game plan altogether. We know David Moyes has been extremely successful with West Ham so far, and it would not be surprising again this season he's successful. I think they just need to figure out a strategy, and Manchester City was the best team to challenge to figure out what that strategy would look like.
I think for West Ham, I think you really can't down your heads a little bit here, because also you got to put into perspective they had to sub out their goaltender after getting injured in the first 25 minutes of the game.
Yeah, Fabianski, man. I mean, that guy is as reliable as you could possibly have him. And honestly, Fabianski had been the net keeper. That whole entire game could have been 0-0. I don't think Haaland would have gotten past Fabianski that easily.
No. So we got to put that into perspective as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. City didn't look too impressive to me. I mean, like you said, they could have easily won by a lot more, but the fact that they only managed 2 goals and they had to come from Erling Haaland, it's making me think that, the signs, they're going to slow down soon. Don't you worry. It's going to come.
And there was nothing exciting either about Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez is the second striker that they signed this year. And okay, he did okay, but he wasn't all that exciting. If there was a man in the match actually that I would personally vouch for both sides. Again, I vouch for Kevin De Bruyne. He played a fantastic game himself. But Declan Rice in West Ham, he was all in, man. That dude was delivering exactly the value that he's been rumored to be worth all along in the transfer window. So
that's enough for the first week. Why don't we dive into week 2? But before we do that, I want to go over. So we talked about last week our best bets. We're adding a little bit of soccer gambling into this, and with that, I want to update the records. My best bet in the English Premier League, I'm 1-0, up 1.05 units. Having Tottenham minus 1.5. They won 4-1 over Southampton. Diego's 0-1 minus 1.25 units. Having Liverpool at minus 1.5. The yellow card parlay, we're going to forget that happened because it was just a crapshoot.
It was brutal.
So we'll dive into that after we give you what we have for the rest of this week. So to update, Diego already said both of us are 5-5 heading into match day number 2, which will start Saturday the 13th. So why don't we dive in? First game on the card, it's Aston Villa hosting Everton. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I got Everton taking this one 2-1. They looked pretty good against Chelsea. They held their ground. This is a team that has been doing minor signings while being financially driven and financially wise, but it seems to have been working. And I think for Frank Lampard, it was necessary to have a preseason where he could figure out a new tactic, and he did just that. I think with Chelsea, Chelsea just got lucky to get that goal. In my opinion, it was a penalty too. That I personally wouldn't have called it much of a penalty, but whatever. And it barely got past their goalie. So this could have been another 0-0, and it could have been a surprising start for Everton, who lined up in a 5-4-1 formation, very defensively driven against a 3-4-3 that Tuchel pulled out. But you know what? Tarkowski, Mina, Dokore, and Gordon, they all looked real good for Everton. And I think going into week 2, where Aston Villa has not found their rhythm, I think Everton can take this one 2-1.
I'm thinking in a different perspective here. I kind of like what Steven Gerrard did with his Aston Villa lineup in that 4-3-3. I don't think Emiliano Martinez is going to play as bad as he did against Bournemouth. I don't think Aston Villa is going to play as bad as they did against Bournemouth. They're at home, first home game of the season. I think they're going to want to come out on top. However, I do think Everton's good enough to get that point. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
Next one we have is Arsenal and Leicester City.
I got this one in a 1-1 draw. Leicester always plays against Arsenal real tough. We saw that last year, and I expect it to be the same exact case this year. Leicester had a very competitive game against Brentford, who, again, looks very sharp this year, coming into the second year in the Premier League. I thought the formation for Leicester was kind of interesting, 3-5-1-1. Seeing that Brendan Rodgers is willing to change it up, I would not be surprised if he changes it up against Arsenal as well. And that's the element of surprise that Leicester brings this year.
It's, for me, Leicester, it's the same as last season. If they're not at home, it's kind of hard to think that they can come out on top. The draw for you, I don't hate it, especially based off of where I'm seeing everything line up here. However, I do have Arsenal in their last 3 against Leicester is 3-0 against them.
Mm-hmm.
And their last 10, they're 5-1-4.
Mm-hmm.
So just looking at it, I mean, I'm gonna go Arsenal 2-0. I don't think Leicester is gonna play bad, but I don't think they're gonna play well enough where they're gonna get something past Arsenal. I think Arsenal starts off the season with 2 clean sheets. I'm gonna go 2-0 Arsenal there.
I like it. All
right, let's talk next game. It's Brighton hosting Newcastle.
I like Newcastle on this one, not because Brighton beat Manchester United. It's just Newcastle looked real good altogether. They played a competitive Nottingham Forest, who did not give the ball very easily. In fact, if you look at the stats, it was almost a well-balanced game up until the second half, towards the end of the second half, where Nottingham Forest just ran out of juice. That's why the possession is 62-38. But altogether, Newcastle was just far more driven offensively. So I got Newcastle winning this one 2-1.
So it begins. So last year, these two teams met twice last year. Newcastle was a 1-1 draw in November, and then Newcastle beat them in March at home 2-1. Brighton, since that March loss, I believe, has only lost once.
Right.
So it's tough to say there that it could happen again, but a couple draws in there. They've beaten some good teams. I don't know. I just think Newcastle, the form they're in right now, I like them a lot. I have them also winning 2-1. Next one, it's Manchester City. They're hosting Bournemouth.
This one is my blowout of the week. Bournemouth was surprising against an Aston Villa side. I can't discredit what Manchester City's doing. I think Manchester City is going to adjust and reload in terms of their competitive fire. And I think we see actually starting lineup with Sterling. I mean, not with Sterling, with Jesus Christ.
Grealish.
We see Grealish, but I think we also see Mahrez potentially. Okay. And that's where the difference will be. I got City winning this one 5-0.
Oh, geez. Well, we talked about how we think City's going to fall off just like 20 minutes ago with that.
I think they'll fall off, but not this early in the season just yet.
Yeah.
The schedule looks a little too easy to begin with.
Of course. I think City wins this one 3-0. I think if Bournemouth was at home, we could be talking about a completely different game, but they're on the road here, and City plays very well at Etihad.
Yep, exactly. I agree with that.
Next one, we got Southampton and Leeds.
I got Leeds winning this one 3-0, man. Leeds look very promising. Jesse Marsh,
I'm not. Did you say 3-0?
yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Jesse Marsh and company looked very promising, man. Wolves gave it to them. They were competitive, and Leeds just stood up very well, man. They were trailing 1-0 after the 6th minute, and um Marsh's man's just really lined up well and competitively. A 4-2-3-1 formation against the Wolves 4-2-3-1, playing the same exact style of game, and Leeds delivered, man. They really did. I was very happy with what I saw, and I think with Southampton, a side that we will see struggling all along this year, I think Leeds will win this one 3-0.
I'm going to 0-0 draw here.
Oh,
I
okay.
think Southampton at home, they're always very tough. And the way that these two teams have played over the last few seasons, Southampton squeezed one out at home last year against them. They drew when it was at Leeds. This season, they're at Southampton. Don't think Southampton's good enough, but I think Leeds can build off the momentum they had last week. But I'm going to go 0-0 draw here. I think they even it out, and I think no goals get scored in this game.
By the way, I don't know if you saw the little beef scrapple between Jesse Marsh and Bruno Lage, but that's one to follow. It's one to follow all season long because that was a
Oh
lot
no,
of shit talk between the
for
two of them.
sure, for sure. Next one we got Wolves and we got Fulham.
I got Fulham winning this one 1-0, man. Fulham really convinced me with how they played against Liverpool. Talk about high press. That's what Fulham delivered. And I'm just not sure that Wolves is yet built to be defensively driven against a high pressing game that Fulham delivered.
So I've teetered back and forth here. I think Wolves hasn't won a game since the beginning of April last year, if I remember correctly. And then the last three meetings, they've beaten Fulham every time 1-0. So do I continue the trend of going Wolves 1-0, or do I take the draw? I don't see Fulham winning this one. I think I'm gonna continue the trend. I think I'm gonna put down my notes here. Wolves 1-0. But I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends in a draw as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that for Wolves is the bright side here is that they're playing at home. So it's their opening game at home. But I gotta tell you, Bruno Lage is not one to convince me yet to be the guy for Wolves.
We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
So what was your score again?
I had 1-0 Wolves.
1-0 Wolves. Okay.
All right, next one is Brentford and it's Manchester United.
This is the one where I see finally United came back on their horse. Ten Hag was not a happy camper after that performance, and rightfully so. This game is away. I think they need some sort of fire to get under them, and I think this is the one that does it. I got them being Brentford 3-1 on this one.
So, I mean, I dived into their matchups last year before I dove in. United beat them 3-1, and then they beat them 3-0. I don't know. I don't like Brentford because I think they got the 2 goals late against a bad Leicester City team. However, I think United has to have a little bit of fire underneath them, and we could potentially see Ronaldo in the lineup to start this week, which I think that was the big question mark is Ronaldo's coming off the bench. Who do you have at striker? And they came out with Christian Eriksen up there, which was a flabbergasting move in my opinion, because I always have seen Eriksen as like a center attacking midfielder. I think
I
United
mean,
wins this, but I think it's a lot closer. I got United winning 2-1.
I mean, if you really want to talk about flabbergastic performance, you got to talk about McTominay and Fred.
Oh yeah,
Those
but
two, those two are the reasons why we really need Frankie De Jong signed. Why we could even use Adrian Rabiot sign, just something because we need to get that pairing done and dealt with. that future pairing needs to be Eriksen and McTominay, or Eriksen and Fred, or Eriksen and De Jong, but it cannot continue to be Fred and McTominay anymore. It just can't. It was disgusting performance.
All right, let's dive into the Sunday slate.
Yep.
Nottingham Forest at home against West Ham.
I still got West Ham winning this one 2-1. I do expect Jesse Lingard to potentially score against his former team. But I just don't expect much out of Nottingham Forest yet against a very offensive side like West Ham.
I think Nottingham Forest is going to lock West Ham up. I don't think they're going to win this game. I think this is going to end in a draw. I have a 1-1 based on the fact it's Nottingham's home opener, and we saw what Brentford did last year in their home opener against Arsenal. I think Nottingham Forest can play up to that level, but like you said, Jesse Lingard scoring against his former team is probably going to happen. I think West Ham will get one. And the big question mark for me is Fabianski. If Fabianski isn't playing, I don't know how much I trust Areola right now, just based off of how he looked against Man City. So I'll go 1-1.
All right.
Next one, we get Chelsea and Tottenham. At Chelsea.
I don't care where they're playing, man. I am sold on Tottenham this year, man. What the performance that I saw in this opening week, my hats off completely to Conte. I'm taking Tottenham on this one, a 3-2 victory.
I think this is going to be a lot closer. You said 3-2?
Yeah.
So Chelsea beat them last year 2-0 and 3-0. But that was September. We don't count that because that's not when Tottenham's at its best. But when they beat them 2-0 at home last year in January, you sat there and looked and goes, okay, that's not what I can see from this Tottenham team. I think it's different this time. I think Tottenham squeezes one out. I think they win 2-1. However, it does scare me a little bit that in their last 10 meetings, Tottenham's only got 2 wins against Chelsea in that span.
Yeah, and in the last 2 meetings, they didn't have a good coach like Conte. They didn't have a locker room that was physically fit. They were on and off on Kane having injuries. They didn't have a very strong midfield like they have this year. They didn't have a dynamic trio like they could have this year. Let's also remember Tottenham started the season without putting their front three that is going to be Richarlison, Son, and Kane. They didn't go with that formula, and they still trashed a team 4-1 that's used to playing them in the Premier League. I'm sorry, but this one I'm fully sold on Tottenham.
I agree. I just think Chelsea at home is going to play a little bit tougher than we're going to give them credit for right now.
So what was your score again?
I have 2-1.
Who?
Tottenham.
All
Final
right.
one. It's a Monday game. Liverpool at home against Crystal Palace.
This was a no-brainer for me. It's Liverpool. It's home. They're playing good football so far. 3-1.
I have Liverpool 2-0. I think looking at their last 10 meetings with Crystal Palace, outscoring them 30-6, having six clean sheets in those games, gives me very much so hope. And if they just come out and play and realize that Crystal Palace can be a team that will give them trouble, if they come out and play like they did in the second half, I don't see why Liverpool can't get through. Also, big shout out to Darwin Nunez. He looked good in his debut with Liverpool in the EPL. The little backflip kick, top shelf. Oh, that was a pretty sight to see.
Listen, everyone was trashing on him for his first preseason game because he looked like Lukaku at his prime. But I gotta be honest with you, y'all shut yourselves straight in the foot just by judging a man by his cover instead of his content. So I said it right off the go. I think Darwin Nunez was gonna be a great addition for Liverpool, and it's proven so far to be that.
All right, so let's go into the gambling aspect of the EPL right now. EPL best bets. I'll start us off here. We talked about this. This team looks very, very good on the road. Getting it at plus 205, I think, is an absolute steal. I'm going to take Newcastle over Brighton plus 205 as my best bet.
Son of a bitch. All right.
Work me through it. What do you got?
For me, I'm gonna take the Liverpool versus Crystal Palace slate again.
Let's take Liverpool. Take Liverpool -1.5 again.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Liverpool -1.5 at -165. Okay, now I'm gonna look at the games that we have the same here in the slate and see which ones you want to put into our Yellow Card Podcast parlay. Yellow Card Podcast parlay is the parlay that we will put together every week, including our best bets and 2 picks that we have the same of in our slate. So 0-1 last week. We won't talk about it. Let's dive into this week. So we have Tottenham, that's the same. We have United, that's the same. We have City, that's the same. That's really it. So how do you want to do this?
I think we go with City.
So we'll go Man City.
Yeah, I think we go with Tottenham.
So
Or
let's
maybe
do.
United, actually.
So let's cancel Man City because the odds are very, very high up there. So why don't we do this? Why don't we take United? United is +105. We'll take Manchester United,
Uh-huh.
and then we'll take Tottenham because ready for this, Diego? You can get Tottenham right now on the road at Chelsea on Sunday for +220.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Okay, so to go over our 4-team parlay, Newcastle, Liverpool -1.5, Manchester United, Tottenham. All 4 of those win. That's +3113. So that would be +31.13 units if you put 1 unit on it. So right now the Yellow Card Podcast parlay is 0-1 -1 unit. We hit that, we're probably set, and we could probably be up units the rest of the season. So let's cash a parlay together, boys. Say it again. Newcastle, Liverpool -1.5, Manchester United, and Tottenham. Tottenham is +220, Newcastle is +205, Man United +105, and Liverpool -1.5 is -165. All right. This week is a little bit different. Last week we did our Bundesliga best selections. We did our Ligue 1 best selections. We're going to go back to those really quick. Just get those out of the way now. So to go over, let's do the Bundesliga. You and I both 0-1 last week.
Yep.
We both had Leverkusen over Dortmund, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So we'll forget about that. Diego, why don't you give me your Bundesliga best bet for match day number 2?
I'm gonna go with Leipzig versus Cologne. I'm gonna go with Leipzig winning that one 2-1.
Don't need the score, just need that. And it's actually funny that you say that because that is my best bet as well. I really like RB Leipzig this week in this matchup over Cologne. All right, let's dive in. Ligue 1. What's your Ligue 1 best bet? I was 1-0 last week and you were 0-1. I had AS Monaco over Strasbourg and you had OG Nice over Toulouse and they drew.
I think for this week, I'm gonna go with Lask over Nantes.
I actually like that. I contemplated that, but I'm gonna go Marseille over Brest this week.
Marseille. Yeah, over Brest, yeah.
On the road,
Okay.
on the road against Brest. So that's gonna be mine. All right. Now with La Liga starting and Serie starting, we're gonna be doing this every week. So what we're going to do is off air, Diego is gonna pick 3 games in La Liga that he wants to talk about, and we will be picking winners based on that. I will be picking 3 winners from Serie. I'll be picking 3 games from Serie A. Diego and I will be picking winners from that as well. So we're going to start with La Liga. And the first game that Diego had on the card that's playing wise is Friday the 12th. It's Osasuna and Sevilla.
Yeah, so Osasuna versus Sevilla. I think Sevilla wins this one. Sevilla still looks a very good team. Even though they lost Jules Conde, they still look very good. I'm going 2-1 Sevilla on this one.
I think Sevilla starts the season off with a clean sheet. I, Osasuna.
Osasuna, yep.
Osasuna to me, I think last year, when they played in February, it was a 0-0 draw. I think Sevilla remembers that little revenge spot here. Sevilla 2-0 in that aspect. All
Two
right.
nothing. Nice, I like it.
Then next game Diego has is Celta and Espanyol.
Yep. So Celta Vigo versus Espanyol, really good meeting. I still think Espanyol will get the edge over here. I'm going with a minor victory here for Espanyol, 1-0.
I actually had the other way. I like Celta Vigo to win 1-0.
Okay. All right.
I think the minor victory is had, but it's for the other side. All right. And the last one, it is Valladolid versus Villarreal.
Yep. I got Villarreal winning this one 2-1. I like Valladolid, but I just don't think they have what it takes to take on Villarreal just yet.
Villarreal is also coming off a very successful run in the Champions League last year. I think they played pretty well in the Liga last year. I think they're going to start the campaign off on the right foot. I also have them winning 2-1 over Valladolid. All right, so that'll do it with La Liga. If you want to know who the big teams are playing, Barcelona is playing Rayo Vallecano.
Mm-hmm.
You have Real Madrid on the road at Almeria, and Atletico Madrid is on the road at Getafe. All right, moving to Serie A. Serie A. First game we're going to be talking about Serie A. It's AC Milan hosting against Udinese.
Yeah, I got Udinese versus AC Milan. I think AC Milan wins this one 2-0.
This AC Milan team, it doesn't look as good as it did a year before. However, I do think they do start the campaign off with a W here with the same exact score that Diego has. I have AC Milan winning 2-0.
All right.
Next one, we have Sampdoria versus Atalanta.
That's right. I got 2-0 Atalanta here. I don't think Sampdoria is bringing in much. Atalanta looking to be a competitive team this year. I think they can do it, but it's Sampdoria. Nothing too earth shattering here.
Maybe I should go first because I
Maybe.
have Atalanta winning 2-0 here again for the same exact reasons that Diego has. Atalanta looking to take that step forward this year and start off the campaign against Sampdoria on the road. I think them coming out with a 2-0 win is a good way to start.
Yep.
And then last one, the one that I think is going to be the most interesting match of the Serie A campaign, it's Juventus at home against Sassuolo.
I got Juventus winning this one 3-1 against Sassuolo. Sassuolo, I don't see much. Juventus, meanwhile, Pogba is at it, even though he won't be playing because of an injury. He's still a factor for the team. Angel Di Maria playing for Juventus. Morata staying with Juventus as well. It's a good team, man. It's a good team what Juventus got. I'm just wondering what Allegri will be doing this year in terms of formulas for Juventus. It's an easy start against Sassuolo, so it should be a good week ahead for the Bianconeri. And in fact, I'm rocking their jersey today.
The only thing that's really stomping me here is the fact that Schnezzi is going to be out for about 3 weeks for Juventus to start the season off here. I think Sassuolo is one of those teams that they're going to make a run at the middle of the pack this year. I think they're low-key kind of talented. I think they got some primetime players. So they're hosting Sassuolo in Turin this week, but I don't believe they will have Paul Pogba as well. I believe he's also out with a knee injury. So that's a big loss for them. I think Juventus can still get the job done, but I think they win 2-1. Also, they're in talks to lock up Philippe Kostic this week from Inter as well. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, I mean, I like Carlos. I like Carlo Pinzoglio for the goalkeeping role. I also like Giovanni Garofani for the goalkeeping role while Chesney's out. Mattia Perrin will look good. He's played some games for Juventus and he's looked good. I wouldn't be need to worry, honestly, on the goalkeeping role. It's against Sassuolo. Sassuolo doesn't have much of an offense to begin with. Meanwhile, defensively, you guys have a lot. You got Jelson Brenner, who you guys added this year. Um, you got Juan Cuadrado still playing. You got Leonardo Bonucci still in the team. Alexandro still part of the team. Daniel Vugani still part of the team. Defensively, you guys got plenty of options. Danilo, Mattia De Ziglio still there. So I think defensively, you guys got what it takes to take on Sassuolo, to be honest with you.
Not having Matthias De Ligt's a big loss still. Don't matter who you put out there.
Yeah,
It's
but
hard to replicate that.
It's Sassuolo, though. They don't really have much of an offensive game. This is much more of a defensive team than anybody else.
All right. So before conclude episode 92, just to go over real quick, EPL best bets this week. Mine is Newcastle at plus 205. Diego is Liverpool -1.5, -165. The Yellow Card Podcast parlay plus 31-13. Newcastle, Liverpool -1.5, Manchester United, and Tottenham. All four of those hit plus 31.13 units. Second week, you'll be up 30.13 if you've taken the Yellow Card Podcast if this hits. So trust me, you don't want to miss out. Also, make sure you guys follow us on TikTok
That's right.
at Yellow Card Pod.
That's right. And if you're not following
us,
on Twitter, please make sure you do. Podcast Card on Twitter. Make sure that you're following us. Make sure you're following all the content. We've been keeping you up to date with all the summer transfer window action, all the rumors, all the breaking news, all the stories that we've gotten some hints on, all the stories that Fabrizio Romano has been following as well. Please make sure that you're following us and continue to support us. Until next week, episode 92 concludes here. Thank you all so much. Jones, Diego DJ, checking out once again. See you on episode 93.